Right. Well, I'm Denzil Biggs. I was born in Fownhope, lived here all my life, except for a few years away in the army and whatnot, working in London. I joined the Heart of Oak Friendly Society when I was 5, 1933, when you had to have a medical, because it was a friendly society and they wouldn't have, you couldn't join if you weren't fit. So I remember having that, going to see the doctor over this, believe it or not. And my brother, elder brother, who's sadly no longer with us, he failed his medical. And also my younger brother failed. I didn't know that until the other day, until he told me this. And yeah, you had to do that, of course, and then you become a member. My first walk would have been in 1933. Whether I made it or not, I'm not sure, because at that time I'd started school. I was born April the 29th. And the walk, of course, is the nearest Saturday to Oak Apple Day. And the first 2 or 3 weeks at school, it may have been longer than that, I was knocked down by a car and spent a few weeks in hospital. So I was lucky to be around. So whether I made the 33 walk, I'm not sure, but I certainly would have been. I would have either missed the 33 or the 34. And I walked up until the wartime, you know, when it was discontinued during the war. Well, that was my early memories of the walk. I've got to gather myself a little bit now and think about it. I mean, the walk was really a highlight of our life. It was quite tiring because little children, we used to do quite long walks. They would be from, well, you'd start at, they always met in the early days in front of the Green Man on the main road. And you marched up to the church behind the band, and then you visited various well-to-do houses where you were entertained during the village, through the village. And our longest walk was to Morney Cross, which was probably about a 3/4 of a mile out of the village, best part of a mile. When you're a little youngster, it's a long way. And your feet would be dragging a little bit by the time you got back to the village. Memories of those days was fruitcake and pop as a child, and the men had beer and bread and cheese probably. That was my sort of early memories of it. And of course, also that day was very important because we had the fair in the village once a year, very important to us, and we had lots of fun there. And my father was a farmer, a small farmer, and we used to go home after the sports. There were always sports after the walk. The men used to go to the lunch. They'd have a lunch in the Green Man, in the club room as it was in those days. And I don't know what we used to do, whether we went home and came back for the sports in the afternoon. And then we'd go home for milking, you know, milking the cows, and because Dad had a small dairy farm. And back down to the fair in the evening, which was really the highlight of the day. And that's my memories of the club in those days.
Tell us about what you wore.
Oh, your Sunday best. Probably grey flannel trousers and a grey jacket, pardon me, which you only wore on a Sunday. A cap, of course. You live with a cap. Yeah, that was it. Polished shoes. Yeah, it was good. And of course, it was only all male. There were no girls involved in those days. Yeah, Sunday best. That's about all I can think of regarding that.
Do you remember as a boy, the morning of, dressing the stick? Did your dad do yours, or did your mother?
No, my mother always did our stick. Yeah. The other thing about the walk, when you were juniors anyway, you very much were put in your place on the walk. The seniors walked at the front of the parade, and when it came down to the young men and the boys, you were very much in your place. So when I went to my first walk, I would be right at the end, right at the back. And as you got a little bit older and younger ones came in, you'd move up a bit. And of course, that was always much better to get from the back. You were very much the underdog right at the back.
Did your father ever dress his stick, or was it always your mother?
Always mother, yeah. No, I was the only one in the club. My family. Dad never was a member, but he used to go to the lunches, as I recall, because I think he was probably on the parish council and very involved with the church. So he, as a local farmer, he would be invited to the lunch, and also the MP was always the. I think he was always the president of the society in those days. They always made the local MP the president. I'm pretty sure that's right. Because the one MP I recall from my childhood used to spend his weekends in Fownhope at a house called Rock House. Yeah, which was quite near where I lived at that time.
Can you describe, Denzil, the excitement and the anticipation of the day as it approached?
Well, as I said, it was the highlight of the year, really, when you were young anyway. But, yeah, it was great fun. And of course, the pop and fruit cake always came in nice and a bit special. But the old day and the fair in the evening, it was a good day. And the sports in the afternoon. Yeah, I could run pretty well when I was a little kid, and because you always, whoever set the races up, if you were the little one, you got to the front and they couldn't catch me because they give me such a big start. I can remember this vividly from early days, and they couldn't catch me because I was quite well running about at home, on the farm and whatnot. And so, yeah, I could run all right. Not anymore.
Do you remember, are there any characters you remember?
Oh, God, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, many, many characters. Yes. Well, stories I wouldn't want to say really about some of the characters, but we had some wonderful characters. Jim Brooks was one who comes to mind. He was deaf. And from the First World War, he was I suppose, as a lot of First World War veterans lost their hearing. And Jim was one of those. There was Tosh Pocknell, who was a water gillie, and he used to keep his boat down on where my dad had the farm where we lived. And he kept all his fishing gear in our mill, where, of course, there was always a barrel of cider there. And when we were kids, my brother and I, Tosh would be down there having a tot of cider, Well, I think I'll just have one more before I go, and squeak of the tap, as they did. Yeah, he was another one, but there were many characters, as villages do have, don't they? And they still have, and they're coming around now even, we got characters around you, but they're not like the old days, I don't think. There's more other entertainment, isn't there? But they were very entertaining, these old boys.
I imagine there were quite a few war veterans.
Oh, yes, there were, yeah. Yes. I can't sort of remember much about that, but a lot of them, of course, would have been in the walk. My uncles on my mother's side, it was the Watkins side of my family, who were the walkers, members of the Heart of Oak. My grandfather was a member. I think it started somewhere about 1877 or was it? I don't think he's probably one of the original members, but I use his stick. In fact, I've got his club stick that I still use. A little story about that. That was recovered by an aunt of mine. My uncle Denzil, that was his. She was his wife, and she said, "I thought you ought to have this stick, then, because your uncle will probably use it for a broomstick or something. So you better have that." And she gave me that many years ago before she died, which is strange, really, isn't it? But so I've got Grandad Watkins's stick. I've got 3 uncles. They were all walked. I had a proud moment quite a number of years ago when I walked with my uncle Donald Watkins, when he was 90. So it was quite a memorable occasion. That's a number of years ago now. And he always walked. He was always at the front of the parade. And yes, and then there was Gerald and Denzil, Donald Watkins. Yeah, so it was all on my mother's side, really. The club walk came into our family.
Was it important to your mother then, the club walk?
Oh, I think so, yes. Well, her family was very important to her, you know, yeah. Because of her brothers, of course, and her father. Yeah. Yeah, because they lived locally. I mean, long before Dad came on the scene, they lived at Mount Pleasant in Fownhope. So they've been around here a long time.
So your stick?
Yeah.
Where does it stay? Where do you
At
keep
home. Oh, in my little box room that we got. Oh, well, I call it my office, but where I've got all my memorabilia. So that's there, with the ribbons on it, ready for the next year, you know.
So who dresses your stick?
My wife does that. Yeah, always has done. Yeah, since I've been married, anyway. Mother did it before.
But do you tell people it's your wife, or do you say that you did it?
No, I wouldn't claim to do it. No, God, no. No, I wouldn't have a clue how to do it, really. Well, I got an idea, but it probably wouldn't look as good as what she does. And she's knocking on now. She's getting near 90 as well, so she does it very well.
So tell me about the dressing the stick and the preparation. Does that start the day before?
Well, my wife Kath always dresses my stick and has been done since we were married. Yeah, she does it very well and takes pride in doing it. I think I could never claim to do this the way she does it. So Kath has done it, and she's getting older now, but she still does it, and looking forward to doing it tomorrow morning. So she tells me. Whether that's right or not is another matter. I make the bacon butties on the stick making time, you know. So my daughter's come as well, and granddaughter, she dresses her husband's stick now. Now she'll be doing a stick for her little girl, so who will be, 15 months old, so she'll have a little stick tomorrow.
Tell me about your son-in-law.
My son-in-law, Harrison Leonard, American. My granddaughter, Alison, they met, in fact, it's quite a romantic story. They met on the internet when they were both 15. And Ali started work as a cabin crew on British Airways, and Harrison his home is Los Angeles, and she did a little trip to San Diego, I think it was one of these trips that she used to do long haul. And he got in his car and they arranged to meet down in San Diego, and then the romance really took off. And so probably a couple of years later, they got married, and they've lived in London. Now they live in Bristol. Yes, Harrison's a good lad. Yes.
He had some success at the walk, didn't he?
Yes, yeah, Harrison last. Yes, which of course Alison, his wife, decorated his stick, and of course, very proud moment when they won the best stick for the seniors. So he was quite chuffed about that.
What does he make of this event?
Oh, he loves traditional things. Yes. Oh, he's a traditionalist, all right. So he fits in quite well. Yeah.
What does the tradition, the flower walk, what does it mean to you?
To me?
Yeah.
Well, it's been part of my life for all my memory pretty well. So, not that I did miss quite a number of walks. When I'd finished my army service, I worked in London for 3 years. Got a bit of experience. I'm a motor mechanic by trade. And I came back and started my own business. And as a one-man band in those days, the walk would interfere with my work, and I'd always have jobs to complete on a Saturday, and I'd hear the band go by, and oh God, I must go to that. And I used to miss it and try and catch up later in the day with the sports and the fair in the evening. But no, I've missed it for quite a number of years, sadly, but we've caught up since.
Do you remember when girls were first admitted?
Well, it was the Friendly Society part of it, the old club, disbanded. I think it was in, the old banner is in the church. The date is on there, so it's laid up in the church. I think it was 87, in the 80s, perhaps late 80s. And then, of course, it was open then to girls to come in. So now we get girls as well. And, of course, you get the brownies and the guides and different groups joining on. The British Legion join in. A couple of members of the British Legion, they bring their banner. And, it's quite an occasion for the village.
It sounds to me like it's a real family day as well.
Oh, I think so, yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. We got people that move away. I mean, well, take for instance my family, they come back because it's very much part of the day, part of their life as well, you know. So, and you do see people there that come back every year from different parts of the country that moved away. Old saying in Fownhope, if you've dipped your feet in the Tanhouse Brook, you'll always return. And that's an old local saying. And the Tanhouse Brook is, well, it runs down through the village. Yeah.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Great.
Dip your toes in a Tanhouse Brook.
Well, it's
Always
right.
return. That's
It's a fact.
gorgeous.
It's true. That's absolutely true.
Really lovely.
Yeah.
So what makes the walk special for you? Why is it special? Why do you keep going back and taking part?
Oh, it's difficult, that. Well, it is important. It's all part of the community. And I don't know how much longer I'll be able to walk. I don't know how far I'll walk tomorrow, because the walking doesn't come as easy as it used to. Going back to my early days when I was probably 5 or 6, I probably find it harder to walk now than then. But no, it is a very important day of the year to the village and to me and to my family, very much so.
Is it important to you that your family are taking part?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's very much part of it, yeah. Yes. Yes, my uncles and my grandfather. And so, yes, it is important. Yep.
if I can ask you one more question, I wonder if you could tell us why stories like yours should be recorded.
Well, how long is the club going to carry on? I would hope that it would carry on for generations. We've got a good history group, a local history group that have done quite a bit of work in this field. So,
but your particular story, so we're here today recording and filming you.
yeah.
It's possible that 10, 20, 50 years' time somebody could sit down and watch your interview and hear you talk about your experience of the walk.
Yeah.
Why do you think that it's important that that is done?
I think history is important, isn't it? I have more, when I read quite a bit, and I get more pleasure out of historical things than anything really. So it is important to record it. I'm reading a book at the moment about the American Indians, believe it or not, and the demise of them, and so history is important, isn't it? I think so.